Hi, I'm Ben Janke. I'm an attorney with Baker Donelson in New Orleans, and I'm also a volunteer attorney for the Pro Bono Project. I'm here to talk to you about divorce law and what the Pro Bono Project can do to help. Now, divorce law in Louisiana, like many jurisdictions, is full of all sorts of misunderstandings. Now, this is unfortunate because people often make bad decisions based on this bad information. Which of course affects them and their family and those close to them. A common mistaken belief, for example, is that a party can't get a divorce unless one of the spouses is at fault. While Louisiana does provide for so-called fault-based divorce, the truth of the matter is the vast majority of divorces that are granted in Louisiana and elsewhere are no-fault divorces, which can be achieved simply by the spouses living separate and apart for a specified period of time. Another common misconception is that filing for divorce necessarily puts the spouses in an adversarial and contentious situation for all of the public to see. Well, while there are certain aspects of support and custody and the division of community property that are inherently intertwined with a divorce proceeding, it doesn't have to be contentious and often isn't. Both sides ultimately want the same thing. They want finality and they want to get on with their lives. And moreover, for the majority of cases that our volunteer attorneys take on for the Pro Bono Project, they simply agree to help with the legal divorce and to preserve the parties' rights to all sorts of other issues like the separation of community property if there is any, spousal support, or child custody if that's an issue. Now, as I mentioned, these misunderstandings are unfortunate because sometimes spouses choose to avoid divorce either because they don't want to go through the hassle or they assume that it's necessarily going to be a contentious and public fight when it often isn't. If two spouses do truly separate but avoid going through the formal divorce proceeding, it can have negative tax consequences to them. It could be a barrier to either of them obtaining benefits. It could open up one spouse to the liabilities for the debts of another spouse, even those that they don't even know about. And it can prevent the spouses from marrying in the future, among other things. The truth of the matter is, I've handled several divorces for the Pro Bono Project over the course of many years. And in my experience, at least, every one of them has been a peaceful process. And ultimately, both spouses got what they want at the end and were satisfied with the result. Now, with that, let's go over some of the basics. First, as I mentioned earlier, Louisiana allows for no fault divorces. The party seeking a divorce doesn't even have to provide a reason why they want the divorce. The only thing they have to do is satisfy the legal requirements, and the biggest one is timing. Now, while it doesn't take a long waiting period to enter into a marriage in Louisiana, there does take a considerably longer period of time in order for a divorce to be granted. During this waiting period, the parties have to be living separate and apart continuously without reconciliation for a certain period of time. In most cases, for spouses without minor children born of the marriage, the waiting period is 180 days. If a child is born during the marriage at the time of the divorce and is a minor, even if that child is not biologically related to both of the spouses, in most cases, the waiting period is 365 days. Second, it's important to note that one lawyer cannot represent both parties to a divorce proceeding. This is true even if both parties seemingly want the same thing and want to go through with an amicable divorce. While it certainly makes things smoother if both parties are cooperative, only one attorney can represent either side, and also it's not necessary for both sides to be represented by an attorney. Third, a divorce proceeding does not necessarily have to involve issues of child custody, the separation of community property if there is any, or spousal support. Now, while it is advisable to come to an agreement on such issues if they are at issue, an attorney with the Pro Bono Project in most cases will simply help you obtain the legal divorce and preserve the rights as to the rest of those other matters. Finally, it's not necessary that both spouses be living in Louisiana in order to obtain or to file for a divorce in Louisiana. So long as there is a jurisdictional basis to file for the divorce in Louisiana, it doesn't matter if one of the spouses has left the state, which is often the case when the parties separate. Now, there's surely a number of other important issues when it comes to divorce and family law, but these are some of the most important ones that we encounter with the Pro Bono Project. I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Pro Bono Project.